Good, thank you. Hi.
Good, good. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is about trust.
Yes.
I noticed that as we were speaking, I began to feel a tightening in my chest. I began to realize that my trust of you is possibly less than if it was that of a white person. And I just wanted to know, what do you feel about trust?
I think this is a very serious topic. It's not easy. It is not an easy process to trust someone. I might say because of past experiences that we go through. Talk about trusting someone, there's a lot of questions that comes to mind. It's not a very easy thing to just see someone and then you trust. It goes together with safety. You know, you need to first check how safe you are among those people that you need to trust. People get betrayed because they trusting.
So how does one build trust that goes beyond just the work or goes just beyond meeting at a shop?
I think trust can be built by building a relationship, connecting with someone. It takes more than one conversation to end up trusting someone, because really it's not so easy to just see someone for the first time and then you trust that person. You need to meet that person regularly. You need to get to know the person better, you know, not just to know that I'm Luncedo and that's it, but to know deeper and to connect. I think connection is the very important word here.
And for me, it's about how I connect in my honesty.
Yes.
Because very often I can pretend to connect. I can put on a smile. I can pretend that I trust you as equally as I trust my friends. But in that pretense, at some level, I create more mistrust, don't I? You know, the 8th of August. You know, the 8th of August is Women's Day, International Women's Day, and so what I really wanted to talk about this month is about relationships, or relationships with your partner, and aspects around that, if that's okay with you.
When we talk about trust, let us not forget the barriers that are there, you know. Because there are barriers like, I think what you're saying, it's Women's Month. Do women trust men? Do men trust women because of their genders, you know, different genders, you know? I think also cultures plays a big role there, you know. Things like apartheid, they play a role there in trust, you know. I think also the level of I don't know, but when the rich and the poor, you know, there is a difference there in trust, you know. So those barriers are there. I think there is more, but I'm just not sure. But I think also the age plays a big role in trust, you know. So there is a lot of barriers that we can talk about when you talk about trust that are leading people not to trust each other.
Yes, of course. You know, I was brought up under apartheid, and so for half of my life, I was learned to mistrust people of your skin color, and it's really hard for me to overcome that 28 years of separation, and it was done in strange ways. First of all, I never saw a black person really dressing up. I saw them wearing a domestic outfit. And so even in that, as a child, their aspirations were only that of wearing these beautifully ironed domestic outfits.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Yeah.
also cut off character, that cut off, you know, any nuance that I call her my second mother, Maggie, my second mother had. She was just this maid in this domestic outfit that served me, that I could command, that I could order a cup of tea from, or a whole various other things, and so of course it becomes very difficult now to see you as an equal and to trust you as an equal.
I think also from my side, I wasn't there when apartheid happened, but the after effects, you know, we were told by our parents that things needs to go this way. You need to, for example, respect a white man because this man is white. For example, I can send a message to a black person, but because I'm also black, it's not gonna be taken seriously. But when a white man or a white lady sends the same message to a black person, then it's taken very much seriously because they were raised like with the word boss, so they are used to things like that. So there is no trust, but there is fear, you know. So
So what you're really saying is that it was very much a subservient relationship
yes,
that was developed where I was the master and you were the
yes,
subservient one.
yes,
And that still lingers on even today. And it lingers on even between you and I, even although you were born post-apartheid or raised
yes,
post-apartheid.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, that's an important thing to acknowledge because we talk about white privilege.
yes,
And for me, that is an example of white privilege. That even my children, who were born just when apartheid ended, have still got a white privilege that in that conversation, because of their whiteness,
yes,
they would automatically
yes,
assume a role of
yes,
greater privilege, of greater stature in a conversation with you.
yes, yes. So that's still happening. Yeah, if we'll ever be able to, because I was talking to the other guy the other day, and he's very much there into that apartheid state. And yeah, I tried to convince him that we need to move past that. But he spoke about privileges that white people have and us as blacks don't. And I was like, okay. But at some point, people are working their way up, you know. So we need to also look at that we are getting there, but yeah, it's not easy.
I would say that that's why these conversations are so important. And I'd like to say that maybe we should be trying to get there faster. And that maybe it is more on an individual basis
Yes,
than on a legislation basis.
yes,
And how much have we necessarily changed? Individually, there might be legislation that force us together or that regulate things.
yes,
But have we really dropped the walls between us?
on a personal level.
Yes.
I think that's a question. Have we really, really changed? You know?
And that's really why I'm wanting to come back to our conversation about relationships, because what I know is that as a white person, I have a relationship with my partner that looks like this, and you have a relationship with your wife that looks like that.
Yes,
And so when we begin to maybe discuss relationships,
yes,
all of a sudden we begin to understand very much where we are similar and very much where we're different.
yes,
And I'm
yes,
not wanting
yes.
to talk about it from a place of blame, but I'm wanting to talk about it from a place of openness, of honesty.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think let's move on to that.
So we can move. Can we move past trust now?
Yes, yes,
I mean, it's a
okay.
question. I'd like to have more conversations with you,
Yes,
and that's something that we can bring up later on, and we can always come back to.
yeah. All right. That's
Okay.
fine. That's fine.
What are you looking for within a relationship?
I think in a relationship with my wife, there is more. You know, it goes back to we we were when I introduced her at my family and she introduced me to her family. You know, when you have a relationship or when you're married to someone in our culture, it doesn't only ends there. It includes families that are connecting. And between myself and my wife, the parents-in-law are very much involved in our relationship. For example, I don't have biological parents, but family is still my parents. I have granddad, and I have cousins, so they're very much involved in our relationship, which strengthens it, even if maybe things might not go right between myself and my wife. Then we have a privilege of going back home and get things resolved by family at home. Gives it a strength to remain strong, because we know we have the support. Which is beautiful. I appreciate that I know that when things don't go right, then I can rely on my family to support me.
So I'm just aware of how different a choice I made. So I come from a Jewish family, which at some level is also quite a close-knit community.
Yes.
I was brought up with an expectation that, of course, I needed to marry a Jewish woman, someone of my same tribe.
Yes.
And I chose not to. And within that, I was ostracized by my community. I was not understood, I was pushed out. I didn't have that support that you're talking about. And that was really, really hard, not having that support. But at some level, it also made me understand and see myself, and made me a lot more independent. To be able to be a more independent individual, as opposed to somebody that was really bound or stuck to the rules of the collective.
On the other side, I think even for me, you need to select, because the rules of the family, of the tribe, are there. So I think it's very much between myself and my wife to select what we're gonna need from this, and what are we not comfortable with. So we made that choice to choose what we need and what we don't need from what is offered by the family, and we were able to choose, to select that we need this, we don't need that, so which works perfectly, which ends up strengthening our relationship, with my wife. We are in good terms, and we don't have arguments or fights often.
As you're talking, what it reminds me of is, I'd like to share a story from my childhood, if I may.
Okay, that's fine.
And I think that maybe this speaks into how culturally we're different. What you're saying, as a child, I would have heard it so differently.
All right.
Within my tribe, a lot of the decisions are really made from the head.
Okay.
It's about how we conform. And it's very much of a head decision. So I either married somebody of the same background or not of the same background. Growing up, I had a sense of making the domestic who brought me as being immoral, because she had children out of wedlock. And of course, my parents and our family, we wouldn't do such a thing as have children out of wedlock. And I remember the moral judgment that I had against her. And the beauty is, I've known her for 51 years, and she shared something with me that was very beautiful. She said, Brian, all of my grandchildren, doesn't matter whether they're in wedlock or out of wedlock, carry my spirit, carry a part of me. And so why wouldn't I love them? Why wouldn't they be part of my family? And what I could see was, I could just see how different a decision we made. That there was this warm, open heart of saying, of course, I love all of them. Whereas in my family, there was the rigidity of the mother's not Jewish, so they're not of our tribe, and therefore they're outcast.
Oh, okay, at the end, it sounds beautiful, that at least we are accepted, by the mother. We are connected, we are doing well. We phone each other now and then just to check up on how you're doing, how is everyone, So there is that support. I think also my children are growing up into that, They know that we have uncle there, which is, they are really supporting. They're not just uncles or aunts, they are supportive, I went home last weekend, and when I arrived, everyone came to see how you're doing, things like that, which is quite beautiful.
How important is it to be equal? How important is it for you and your wife to be equal?
To be honest, I don't really even notice that here we're not equal, here we equal. I don't think it's that much important for me, I don't know what is causing that, but for me, it's not a big thing. She can do what she can, and I can do what I can. The equalness for me doesn't work because I doubt we'll ever be equal as long as we fair to each other. I think for me the word is being fair, not equal, because if we talk about being equal, especially that we're gonna include the culture, we're gonna include a lot that is happening in our lives, we'll never be equal, to be honest. From my opinion, we'll never be equal, but all we can try to achieve is being fair to each other. So that's how I feel.
Here you're really saying is that you've created a kind of an intimacy, a
Yes,
fairness between you and
yes,
your partner.
yes.
And that is far more important than, than necessarily being equal.
Yeah, we just let ourselves flow, we just connect, we don't have certain ways that we need to be like this and that and that. We just flow. We allow that to be fair to each other and just connect.
In so much in my relationship, in my marriage, we were trying to be equal. And we lost a sense of intimacy.
Yeah.
And that became very, very difficult. So that's really where this issues come from.
I think for me, once you try to be equal, then you will look at everything, every small thing, and make it an issue because why this happened and I didn't get that. For me, it doesn't work like that.
What does women empowerment mean to you?
I think it's very important for women to be empowered, but I don't necessarily feel for this day specifically, but I think it's a norm thing to empower anyone. Like throughout the year, we need to empower anyone, anybody, where they need support. Then we can support to make sure that we're empowered.
And what does empowerment look like to you?
For me, it's like equipping. I think the word that goes with being empowered is being equipped. Duty, for me, it's something that you have to do.
And what does devotion?
I'm not sure, but I think it would mean like submitting.
And indignity.
Dignity meaning it's when you are respected, you have earned respect, then you have dignity.
So dignity is something that sits within you?
Yes.
And then does that mean that if I give you dignity, that it's something, a quality that I see within you, and therefore I give you the dignity and the respect?
Yes.
And
yes.
And if I don't see that quality, then I won't.
Then you won't. Yes. I think it's more about my qualities. I am showing dignity, then I earn it,
Cool. So we need to go back to trust.
Yes.
Because there you were saying that you were brought up to be in dignity of a white person because of his skin color.
Yes.
And maybe I was grown up to be disrespectful to you, no matter what your quality was, because you're a black person.
Yes.
You're less than and you don't have.
Yes.
No matter what you do, it's going to be very hard for you to get my dignity.
Yes, it's not easy. Yeah.
Sure, I didn't expect that to come out of this conversation.
Yeah. It goes back to trust, really.
So how are you able to give me dignity even although you don't really know me? And I'm wanting to understand it from your view. If a black person gets a message from a white person, they act very differently to if they got a message from a black person. And isn't that around dignity, or how does that relate to dignity?
I think it's more about what people were taught. It's not easy to change the mindset of people around that,
How do we begin to have that conversation? How do we begin to change that mindset?
Brian will have to, as you're doing, will have to come down to the same level. We'll have to talk more. We'll have to share more, because not a lot of white people comes to the black community and talk to people in black communities, you know. Like when I asked you yesterday, I was surprised when you said it's fine, let's meet at Percy, because it's not a lot of white people that would say let's meet there.
This is part of my country.
They would say no, let's. That's why I gave you an option to meet like Friday because I'm gonna be in town, or today because I'm in the township. So I was expecting you to say no, let's rather meet when you're in town, you know. So until we get to that level where this is also my country, I can go there. There is nothing wrong with me going there, you know.
But I'm just really realizing that by me coming here, at some level, I'm giving you a sense of dignity. I'm meeting you in your ground, in your own turf, and honouring whatever that is. Whereas when we only meet in town,
Yeah.
I'm not really giving you dignity, am I?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. It's this. I think for me, this meant a lot, especially the fact that you didn't know how to get here. You know, I had to give you directions to get here, and you did it.
Thank you.
So that's like more than dignity. It's beautiful to see that. So we need more people that are gonna come out and see, support, do what you can. You know.
So you're actually saying it's quite simple. When we drop our preciousness and
Yeah.
our guardedness
Yeah.
and just begin to really see each other as
Yeah.
people, which we
Yeah.
are, that automatically something magical happens and changes.
Yes. I won't run away from the fact that people are scared for their safety. Coming to the township, it's not always easy for everyone. They might be robbed. There is this understanding that I don't think we can run away from it, that if you are a white person, you have money, you're rich. What might happen is that people, when they see you, they see money. You know, they see the rich guy.
So you're really saying that this conversation needs to happen. It's a more complicated one. And so I think it's also got to do with trust. You come here regularly.
Yes.
And would you really take me to a place that wasn't safe? And so if I trust you, I'm also trusting you of saying, yes, come into the township and it's safe.
Yes.
I'm not going to take you to that part of the township that might be unsafe.
Yes, definitely.
And I mean, I can't guarantee that it's not going to be unsafe.
Yes.
But I really thought it was going to be unsafe. I'd say, no, you can't come in.
Yes.
And so that's also a level of trust.
Definitely.
That I need to trust you, that you're not
Definitely.
this sotsy that just wants to get me to come to the township, that you can mug me and rob.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's right. That's right. It gets to that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trust needs to be mutual.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I see you move
Not-
back and you gulp and you don't answer that.
I think from home, it's my duty at the end, but I feel there is a difference between a duty and a forced duty. So it's not forced, but it is my duty to love my family, you know. I am expected to do it. It's not a bad thing because it's my duty. I think most of my relationship, it's my duty to do it. You know, I'm expected when I'm at work, when I'm at home, when I'm at church, when I'm with MKP brothers, I'm expected to be part of the relationship, which is my duty. But I don't think I have a forced duty.
Okay.
Duty is important.
And how much of your relationship is devotion?
I think few. As I said, for me, the word devotion, it goes to submission.
Yes.
You know, you have to submit here and there.
And how much of your relationship is giving each other dignity?
I think most. I think for me that's a good word, dignity, because I try by all means to show dignity, so I am earning it back. So most of my relationships are like that.
Thank you. It was a beautiful conversation.
Thank
And
you.
I look forward to.
Thank you.
I look forward to more conversations.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.